Hey guys, this is Thomas with Do Studios, and this is a Guitarocracy walkthrough. Let's start with the top control panel. We've got the scale selectors. Up here you can select any of the major or minor scales, and alongside it's the major pentatonic, the major blues, the harmonic minor, the whole tone scales, and the whole half diminished scales. And then inside of each of these you can select the individual scale that you would like. Here we have the harmonic and melodic, so we could select C melodic minor if we wanted. We also have the major blues and minor blues scale, so say a C minor blues scale. And then you've got the major and minor pentatonic scales here, so a C minor pentatonic. Or we can go back to the C major scale. And over here you have the info tab. If you select that, it'll display all the options of what each of the controls does. And then we've got the settings tab here. If we select that, we can change the model of the actual guitar that we're using. So we could choose a black guitar, or we could choose a red. And then down here you've got the themes, and this allows you to change the color of the background theme. So if you wanted a purple and say a teal guitar, not too bad, shabby there. And you have a keyboard functions option. So this allows me to control the instrument remotely from the key bed. If you hit a particular key, it will mute or play the arpeggiator, and we can go over that later in a more detailed manual, or a video rather. So here we have the right-handed view that we're in right now, where the guitar is sitting on your lap with the neck going towards your left hand. If you're a left-handed player, you can select this, and now you can use the instrument from this direction, if that helps you see or visualize the guitar here a little bit easier. We also have the ARP release mode. Basically, when the arpeggiator plays, it's either going to trigger the release of the note playing, which in turn triggers the noise sound, the noise of the hand stopping the string. So we've covered that, so that's what that does. And then you have the tune knob here where you can individually tune the actual pitch being played. So here on the fretboard you can play from the screen if you choose. And you're not restricted to what scale is being displayed. This just can keep you within a confined pitch range, and within that scale that you've selected. So if we chose, say, the C minor, where was that? C minor pentatonic. And if we chose these notes, so that's your C minor pentatonic. Up here at the top, it does tell you what you selected as the scale. And then it tells you over here what note is being played by the actual keyboard. And then when we play the keyboard, it's going to highlight the note on the fretboard. So I'll play a C. So there you go. The key bed does go down to a lower C, just because it made sense as a musician to be able to give you that. But this note's typically not on the guitar, this low. So that note's not displayed on the fretboard because it's below, it's the C below. But the first note would be the E, which is going to be the E2. And if you look at the top here, you can see that it says E2 MIDI channel number 40. So, and then that's the D sharp, the D, and then the low C. Now down here on the bottom, we'll start on the left, you have a group mute. So if you select this mute here, you'll mute all the sustained strings from 6 to 1, so 6 being the low string here. And if we move the mutes, you can see, so here's string 1, which is the high string, and then you've got the low strings at down here. So let's go ahead and click mute again, and we'll move that. So you can move the mutes to the other area here, so you can see the number that way if you like to use it that way. But the group mute is an option, and then for each of the strings you can individually mute them, or you can, right now they're actually played. And then down here you have another group mute, and then in between them you have a toggle. So it'll toggle between whatever state this one was in. So if we turn this on, so do you see how it returns to the state? So if we turned this and this off, it returns to the state that it was last at. Okay, and then if we go down, these are your dedicated meters for each of the strings. So each sustained string has its dedicated meter. It has a pan, left and right, so this, you can move the string from left to right. You have the volume, independent volume for each string. And then these are the muted sections, so string 6 muted all the way to string 1 muted. And then you've got the noise channel, which plays when the keyboard releases, and that triggers the additional noise channel. And then you've got the reverb, which is like a send and return reverb setup. And then each of the control panels you can open. Let's go ahead and go back to scales and get rid of the menu. So the settings panel opens up the menu here, and then you can get rid of it by going back to scales, modes, or info. The info panel just has highlighted information to show you and kind of walk you through the different things if you're not sure. Rather than dig through a manual, I put that in there for you. Let's see, so controls, opening the controls. So reverb, we can open up the reverb panel, and you have the individual controls, all the pre-delays. You have a bypass for that module here. You have this drop down for the different tempos for the pre-delay. And then you've got presets up here and the randomize. So you can randomize the individual, it'll randomize this individual module. And then you've got the compressor. Obviously, you can bypass the compressor's use. And as well, you can randomize the settings, or you can choose one of the presets I included. And then we've got the wall. I didn't make a randomize because it's really one knob. So, but it does randomize it in the global randomization. And then the fuzz, you've also got in here a random option. And then a few different presets I made for you. And the arpeggiator. So the arpeggiator is kind of interesting, and we'll go over that here briefly. So once you open it up like this is basically showing us steps 1 through 4 of the 8 steps. So once it gets, if it's playing in this particular layout, it'll play to 4, and then it'll reload the groups 5 through 8. So if we open this up with this button on the very end, opens and collapses. So you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these are our pulses. And these sliders here are the intervals. And then here is the duration. You don't need to move the duration very much at all. If you ever, you can leave it basically here and get pretty much any pattern that you need. I just left these available for you so you can kind of fine-tune it if you really, really need to. But here, if we selected, say, we'll do an A harmonic minor scale. If you click on the actual interval slider, it'll play the note for you. And then if you click the following one, so these are the steps and those are the harmonic pitches in the harmonic minor scale. Okay, and then you have it right now in the loop mode, and the loop mode basically will loop, meaning it will start on 1, go to 8, and then as long as the loop mode is active, meaning this is going to go all the way through. If this is selected, it's going to stop. So this is a safety switch for you to disconnect the loop. But as long as this is active, it'll play through and loop back. And I'll show you that now if you hit the play button here. Okay, so you also have a single mode where it's going to play just the one note. Okay, and then you have a skipping muted beat, which basically will play the notes, but it will leave the time will be skipped. So if we put this back on loop and we play, say we mute these and we play it, so you see how there's a gap in the time of the performance. If you skip the muted beat, watch what happens. Okay, so you can get different tempos, different timings with the different modes. Let's go ahead. If we hit the mute here at the bottom, you'll select all of the individual steps in the arpeggiation, and then click it one more time and it will turn off all the mutes. So now every pulse is active. And then down here at the bottom, you have the tempo. So if we wanted to speed this up, we can slower the actual distance. So all of the sliders work off of the duration of the note. So less duration equals faster. Okay, so that's how the tempo knob, and that's how that kind of works there. You also have this switch from free time to basically a grid time. And once you do that, you have the tempo options of different grid methods. And this is based on 128 beats per minute. So if we select, say, 1/8 notes and play the... And then we can change it to 1/4. And the interesting fun thing is you can, once you say this is pretty close, but you want it slightly different, you can go to free time and slow it down. So you can do that. And then we'll go back to maybe 16ths. Eighth note triplets. And say that's really close to what we want. But we want it just a hair slower. Okay. Now, there's other modes in here. We have random duration. That's going to change the duration of each of the pulses. Can get kind of strange. Then you've got random interval. So let's go ahead and choose random interval. So here it's going to basically just choose a number between 1 and 24 and play that particular pitch. So not very musical, right? But you could do some strange things with it. You've got random both. That's going to do both the interval and the duration. You've got random duration and skipping the muted beat. You've got random interval and skipping the muted beat, and random both skipping the muted beat. So this way you can get different timings. Then you've got random in scale. So if we do that and we'll select a particular scale, say F major, and it's in that mode, random in scale, we'll go ahead and hit play. And then here, if say we wanted to change one of these particular pitches, you can set a custom value. So here, if we select it and we find the one that maybe we don't like say this particular one, we can change and set this pitch. Say that's the pitch that we want to keep. And we'll just change one. There we go. And then let's go ahead and keep the randomized mode on. So now we've introduced a new note to the F major scale. We've changed one of the major scale actual pitches and we've altered it. And here we can, I'll try to explain these. So here's our durations. So from the top down are the steps 1 through 8's durations. And then you have a transpose, and the transpose is transposing these 4 first steps. And then you have a transpose for the second groups of 4 steps. What this does, it allows you to group transpose the first 4 steps, and this bottom one allows you to group transpose the 4 bottom steps, which is quite fun in that if we play this, so now, if you go down 12 steps, you open up the allowable range of the arpeggiation system. And here we'll take this transpose on the bottom and lift it up 12. So now we've expanded the dynamic range or pitch range of the instrument. Let's see, so the durations time can be changed, and we can open up this panel here. And this gives us the access to the sample that's being played. Here we can control the offset of the actual individual sample, and we can control the duration that the sample lasts. So if we wanted to basically get rid of the attack to the sample, you can offset where the start of the sample is. You can get some artifacts and clicking, and you can turn it into a drum sometimes, if it's done just right. So that changes the start time of the sample, and this changes the duration of the sample's length. So you can get real staccato. On the keyboard, if you're doing it with a computer and you hold shift, you can make it smaller increments of change, so you can get the real fine. So you can do that. And then here I'll introduce you to another part that's interesting. At the top, here you have the sample offset bypass, which you can engage. So that's going to bypass this controller. You have the 8 VB, which is to add 1 octave below using the steps interval. And the 8 VA will add an octave above this particular steps interval. So here we go. And then an octave above. And when you select this, the velocity selects its velocity and allows you to change it here. So we can increase the octave above's velocity. When you deselect it, you can change the medium or regular tone, the main tone. Okay. All right, so that's the random in scale with the different options up there. And we've gone over the transpose, and we've gone over that stuff. You have the overlay options here. Overlay lets you basically change the numbers, to remove the numbers, and the alphabet allows you to turn on and off the notes displayed. And then these are the 2 different color selectors. You can have the black or the white, whichever you choose. But I think that's all of it. Did we go over? Global randomization and clearing the fretboard. So clearing the fretboard, you can hit the exclamation point here. And then randomization allows you to basically change the sound on the fly. So let's randomize. Who knows? Keep your fingers crossed. Uh-oh. So that's interesting. Already got something cool. How about we'll speed it up. Let's go back to our A minor. Very interesting. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy. See you guys.